We had this professor who would teach us prototyping. So he was from MIT, and it was very interesting. Like, I come with no.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into D Education. In this episode, we have a very special guest with us. Hi Sonsy, welcome to D Education.
Hey Tej, thanks for having me.
So, how was your day so far, Sonsy?
It's been great. I woke up, I knew I had this plan, so with you, so it's been going great. Excited for this.
Wonderful, Sonsy. Sonsy, if you could give a brief about yourself to our viewers out there.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Sonsy. I'm a UX designer in Microsoft. I started my design journey as an architect, and then I went on to do my master's in design in IIT Delhi, and then I joined Microsoft. It's been 1.5 years since I joined here. So yeah, that's a little brief about me.
That's wonderful, Sonsy. So, if you could walk us through your journey into design, and then we'll get into your master's part so that the viewers who are watching this could get a guidance in their master degree program.
Okay, so my journey in design has been a little meandering. So let me start from the very beginning. So as a kid, I really loved watching cartoons. I mean, I love the way stories were told. I love the styles in which characters were represented. I just really liked it. And I would kind of make the same illustrations of all these things that I would watch. I would kind of draw it. And then that's something I just like to do. But I didn't think of it as a career. The only career in design which I knew of back then was architecture. Like, I had an uncle who was like an architect. And I felt that's so exciting. I mean, to create buildings and design for these spaces for people. And that felt like a very exciting thing to do. So I was very sure that's where I'm kind of going to do. That's what I wanted to do. So I did apply for engineering colleges, and I got in as well in some pretty good ones, but I was super sure that I wanted to go for architecture, and so I went in. And it was like a great journey. The only complaint I would have is it's like a very long course. It's like 5 years, which is too much. And the thing which happens in architecture is like a lot of us, everyone who comes in is very creative, but we have like a strong orientation towards certain aspect of design which we find in those 5 years, so it was great the way we learned about design, the kind of problems we solved. We also kind of got this habit of empathizing with the users, and then understanding these basic concepts of design along the way. So it was a fun journey. We had great mentors in college, and yeah, so that was my architecture journey. So what happens in architecture is you like have your final semester as an internship. You work for a company, and I got like two offers. Then one was to work with a very small design firm, and where the architect was kind of very renowned, and he would take up very specialized project, and he would spend more time working on it. The other was working in a bigger firm. They took up like a lot of they have designed some of the main buildings that you would know of, like Rashtrapati Bhavan. They redesigned the Statue of Unity and all of that. And between the two, I decided to go for the bigger firm. I felt like it would give me an experience for all these different types of projects, how they were done, get to meet a lot more designers. And that was something I felt to go for. And that's when like I kind of got to see the process in which things worked out, and I did feel like that's not expressing me. So it was a lot about managing different projects versus all that creativity which you can bring as a designer to the table. And that's also a time when I noticed a lot of designers around me. Like, I would participate in this Inktober activities. Okay, I would create a lot of sketches for different things, and everyone around me was like very appreciative of the things I did. And a lot of people told me, you should think about design after this, because you like that's when my college was also getting over, and it was a time to think what you would be doing next. So I think that was one step towards me getting into design, but I had not made up my mind, because architecture is 5 years, and then you would change from architecture to another stream, and then instead of building upon that 5 years that you had, it's like a change going from here to the other one. And yeah, so after college, I kind of also wanted to understand how it would be like to work in a smaller firm and get an understanding of that as well, where you contribute more towards the project. I freelanced as well. I worked on my house project, which was like a big project. We had 2 residential units and some shop buildings as well. And so that took a lot of time. I was working on that and 2 other projects which I was kind of managing. Along with that, I had joined this firm where I was taking up projects, kind of working on multiple levels of the project, contributing kind of my design there. So that was some things I was exploring. I tried different other things as well, learned and failed, and finally, like, I converged to a place where I felt, I should give design a shot because it aligns with the three main things that I like to do. One is I really love to kind of tell stories visually. Illustration is something, as I said, it's always been a part of my journey. And the second bit is I love to solve problems. In architecture as well, that was the most exciting part about architecture, that you could kind of solve so many problems. Everything, every brief was so interesting, how you could make people's life better, or you could solve this problem which would impact a lot of people. That's the third aspect to it, that creating impact. And yeah, that's what I felt like I should give design a shot, even though it's like a change from what I'd been doing. And yeah, so for that, I wasn't like preparing a lot for it because I felt I didn't want to push myself into design. If it's something which aligns with me, I should go for it. So I thought of trying seed, and I didn't try for NID because I didn't have like a very specific convinced thing that this is the stream of design that I want to get into right now. I thought, let's try with seed. And yeah, I think preparation would have helped a bit because it's like a very time specific thing. So even with your knowledge, like whatever understanding of design you have, and your skills in sketching and everything, you also need to be doing all of this in a very short time. So some practice there really helps. So that was my seed thing, and I fortunately managed to get shortlisted for IIT Delhi and IIT Hyderabad. So I gave the exam for both of them, and there were multiple steps to the entrance. Like, you had your seed score, then you had to do studio tests, like you have to come in and solve some problems for both of them, and then you had the interview. So yeah, it worked out for both. And I decided to go for Delhi because I felt Delhi is more like somewhere where it's not a very specialized stream of design. There are a lot of different designers, and you kind of gradually get to the design that you interest you the most. So in the very beginning, you're not picking a very specialized stream. So yeah, that was the design of like that was the process of arriving at my master's.
That's wonderful, Sonsy. It was a beautiful journey. A lot of great insights for our viewers out there with this journey. Wanted to understand like why you chose IIT Delhi and why you chose specific majors in design.
Yeah, master's in design in Delhi is just this one degree, which is master's in design, and then we are like like in the program itself, we have transportation designers, we have product designers, we have UI UX designers, UX researchers. So we all come out from the same program. We don't go into specific degree for each of them. The way it works is, first year we have similar courses for everyone, and we have faculties from all of these things. Like we kind of have this preliminary understanding of different courses. All these faculties come with different backgrounds, and the interesting thing for us is that it's not just the faculty who's been in the same college and kind of translates the same kind of learning. We have people coming from multiple we have faculties from multiple different educational backgrounds, so we get a touch of their philosophy of design. We get a understanding of their educational backgrounds, and everything kind of is a really great experience, I felt. The reason I picked this over Hyderabad is because it's like a more specific towards visual design. It's something you can go for if that's what you've decided, that's what you want to do and specialize there. For me, I wanted to try something like this, where I kind of, even the fact that you are studying all of these things with multiple different designers of different domain really adds to what you're learning. It's not just the faculty or the courses, the people who you are doing this course with, you work on projects together, you collaborate, you bring your ideas and they bring their ideas into this one final output. And then in IIT Delhi as well, there's collaboration between the engineering departments and the design department in some projects. So that's also a great opportunity which you have, which happens quite a lot. People work with different departments in engineering, and they also have like a minors in design. So there are students from engineering who come in for our courses as well. So it's great interacting with so many people from different backgrounds in design, outside of design. So yeah, that was a great bit which added to my master's in design in Delhi.
It's wonderful, Sonsy. So if you could help us understand your 2 years in like major 4 semesters, like what were different things that you were doing in semester one, semester two, semester three, and semester four? If you could give a high level detail on different subjects that you have learned.
So yeah, as I said, like first year was somewhere where we kind of got a touch of all different subjects. The main underlying theme of IIT Delhi is to focus on design thinking. So if you go to our previous batches, it was little product centric, you know. So design in IIT Delhi was more towards product design. So even though we have like a lot of seniors in Microsoft, you'll find a lot of people from IIT Delhi, but in their times it was even more tougher for them to kind of become more focused towards a UI UX design because it was a little bit oriented towards the product side. But what helped in all of these years is the product thinking aspect of it. So coming out as a product designer is something you would kind of gain the expertise of, but just specializing in one of the streams and especially UI UX is something which is gradually growing. And we are at a place right now since even bachelor's is design in IIT Delhi has like recently started in 2022. So there's a lot of groundwork which was laid for that, and even the course is expanding. And it's like right now we have an opportunity to kind of expand and learn from multiple different professors. And yeah, so that was one. And the second bit is it was kind of very exciting at first. Also, we had like let me tell you a few of the courses that we had. So we had this professor who would teach us prototyping. So he was from MIT, and it was very interesting. Like I come with no coding background, okay, and he would teach us so many things in such a like a very easily consumable way, and we would take our creative sides and all the design thinking knowledge and then apply it to these skills. Like we would prototype. I made like a mirror clock. So I kind of coded. I used 3D printing, laser cutting, and everything. Like kind of worked out the project. To be honest, even the professor was like, "Will you be able to kind of complete this whole thing that you thought out?" And it was super exciting, kind of being able to build that. And since it's not like in bachelor's course, you have the freedom of 4 years to explore and go very deep into different skills. I would say in masters, that's a challenge that we have, that you know, you can't go like super deep into one skill, but what develops in the whole process is your understanding and the way you think and solve problems. So that would take me to the design thinking courses. Now, one thing I would mention here is like when you come to industry, it's always questioned like how valid is this design thinking. I mean, is it really something that's you can take up in your industry projects, like all this double diamond and all, how relevant it is? So I'll take you to the other course that we had. As I said, like every professor came with their philosophy in design and they would tell it to us, and we would go in the direction that resonates most with us. For me, it was my professor in UX design, and that's something I started kind of getting deeper into in my second year. So the professor in UX design like kind of opened my eyes towards the way we think about design. So for him, even if you've like done everything, followed all the design process, you have like a great process of doing things, and you even like your output, it's really good, he would still be like, this might fail, and he would very comfortably say it. For him, the most important thing was, did you manage to understand the user's mental model, and is your design kind of doing that? So for this, his two main things were user research, how, and the testing. And we had like a great UX lab. So apart from this, I happened to be like a pandemic batch student, which is very unfortunate. I got to spend a year in campus, and the second part of my course was we had to spend it home. So we kind of missed out. Like we had one semester of making use of the labs, but we did not get an opportunity to be able to do that. But we have like a super great UX research lab where we have multiple PhD students who are working on very different projects there, who help and guide us. And then there are multiple things you can make use of for your research, like there's GSR, eye tracking, and so many things that you know, they guide us through, and you can add it to any research that you want to add to your semester. So yeah, that is there. And it was just like I would focus more on what I learned from my UX professor, because that was the highlight of my study there. So yeah, he, like the way we learned about UX is not through like a very specific set of you know, this book or that study or this person has said it. He would take the Adam Grant approach, you know, like think again. So he would kind of tell us a thing, and what excites him the most is when you challenge it. So he would tell us, yeah, this is Maslow's, this is how it's done. And he would be super excited if you didn't agree with something which he has said. And then he would try to see that he wanted everyone to think for themselves and tell their understanding of UX. And in each class, he would broaden our view. And we would read more books, we would see more videos, we would see more examples. And what he honed us in is the way we think about solving problems, is what we understand of UX, and what are the different ways in which it has worked, what didn't work, the aspect of philosophy to all of this. And if you remember, at that time we had this social dilemma movie coming in, so we had so many questions for him, and we had so many amazing debates that we had about, design, what it truly means and what is our responsibility. I think one of his PhD students also worked in ethics and design, which was like super interesting and exciting for me to kind of know about as well. Yeah, so I think he even asked me at one point, would you like to do PhD under me? And so it was kind of very exciting. I feel about PhD is the originality, so all these things they're doing, they're bringing about a very original part of thinking, a very original outcome of research. What I wanted to do when getting into industry is to see how we can keep that academic lens of going into a very original solution to design and working in this industry timelines and the kind of tasks and projects we work on. It might be a long term thing, honestly, like I've not arrived at it right now, but it's something I feel I would love to kind of bring to the way in which we do things in the industry as well. So yeah, that was some part of my master's experience.
Thank you so much, Sonsy. You have shared a great example of your college journey and also how did your mentors shaped you into a better designer. So let's talk about your connect with alumni and how was college in terms of enhancing that alumni network with the existing students and what sort of insights you have gained from them.
We had like two our batch and the batch above us, like we were the two batches when we joined in, and then the pandemic happened. So the batch below us is some students who we could interact with only virtually. So when we were present in the campus, we have this white studio space in college. So that's a space where we all gather after classes. It's in the same floor, so we just go there. It's like a place where we play foosball, watch TV, work on our projects. It's a deep work space, and it's also the place where people come to hang out. So we had seniors who were in Delhi who would be coming there. We would have seniors from the batch after us who would sit over there and work on their projects. And the best kind of learning would be like when we had different sprints, or if we were applying for our summer internship projects, and you would just catch hold of a senior. They would kind of tell you like so many things. It's 1 year of learning which they would kind of compile and give you. And the best part is, if you ask another senior, you would get a lot of different insights from them. So it's not like just everyone is learning the same thing. Everyone is building their knowledge in their way, and getting that perspective from each individual is also like really kind of working to broaden your knowledge and understanding of things as well. And as I said, like we had designers from different streams. We got to learn a lot from product designers, we got to learn a lot from UX researchers. So everyone had their interest in their learnings and just getting to know that. And then everyone would be participating in, like, if suppose the seniors are participating in some award, or if they are kind of submitting an entry somewhere, we would help out. So working with the seniors also kind of gave an understanding of the kind of projects that are coming up, or the things we should explore in college which we shouldn't miss out on. So those were some great things, and I feel because of the pandemic, junior batches might not have all translated the knowledge which we managed to get. But yeah, that is one thing. And there would be seniors who would be visiting the campus in White Studio as well. So we would get to see them, meet them over there with a game of foosball, and then we would have fun conversations. And we also have these some parties organized where like we would catch up with a year or two seniors who could make it there. And then yeah, it's a very informal thing. We wouldn't always talk about work, but it's also a way of knowing them, getting to know them. And then work comes at certain time in your life, you can connect with them about work later. So yeah, apart from that, we also have like this WhatsApp group. So we have like way senior people in that talking about their projects. And it's like one community. If someone might post, "Ki, let's just meet up," we might never have known these people. We just know that they were once our seniors, and people just kind of show up and then get to know each other. So yeah, that way we are kind of connected in many different ways.
Thank you, Swansea. So now let's talk about your internship experience and how did you land a job at Microsoft?
Internship. So for us, actually, it did feel like it was very quick. The time at which we started applying for different things. So internship application happened almost in the third semester, I think, and like we were somewhere in the third semester. It did feel like there's like so much more to learn, and we have already started for the internship. Then there would be the placements and everything. So it was around the end of third semester or something, and so at that time, I think what we focused on was like when we take up these design projects, so that's the main thing that I kind of focused on in applying for my portfolio. So as I said, my UX professor was my main guide later on as well. Like for these design projects, he was my guide, and the way in which I approached the problem is something that is what I explained in my interviews. So those kind of helped me. And he had like a very great understanding of UX, and he kind of everything he translated to is something we learned a lot from, and I think that applied to the projects and how I worked on those. So I think those were the things I could explain in my interviews about how my project worked out. And yeah, I was lucky. I kind of got to explore two great projects before the pandemic hit. And yeah, so those are the things that I kind of showed. Apart from that, I had like created my own kind of designs of interest. I had my portfolio included like my first year works, where I had worked on some graphic design projects like book cover designs, and then the prototyping projects, some like multiple different things, even some product design stuff that I worked on. So all of that was there. There was one portfolio for design thinking. So basically, my entire portfolio consisted of curating all of these things that I worked on, personal projects that I worked on. But I focus mostly on things where I work more on the entire process of it, like from the user research, and then how each of these things drove my decision to the next step, and how I arrived at this final project. So that's what I mostly did. And the interview went pretty well for me. Like I enjoyed conversing with the interviewer, and yeah, so I guess like yeah, I got selected in that way. I was lucky. Yeah.
That's wonderful, Swansea. So let's talk about your college fee structure and how did you like? Did you pay it on your own, or what sort of support you got? Is there any government help or anything of that sort?
So for IITs, I think the fee structure is pretty like very manageable. I didn't apply for NIT that had like a very higher fee structure. So for IIT Delhi, it's pretty decent. Like I kind of did not need. I had some savings, and then my parents also helped me out in something. But the main thing is you get this academic scholarship. Like if you've qualified for SEED, it's basically qualifying for scholarships as well, and you have to do TA work. So what is TA work is you become teacher's assistant for different kind of projects. So in the very beginning, they randomly allot different TAs for you, and you kind of assist the professors in their classes. Like sometimes you might have to explain things you did, or just helping them out with the regular class functioning, or even take up projects which might be like working on institute's web page or things like that. Like all of the professors were in charge of different domains, and you would yeah, sometimes it's up to you to pick which professor, which kind of work that you want to do. There might be conferences that you can help organize, and so on. So TA-ship is something which you get paid for every month. So that almost covers how much you are paying for to kind of study. So it's like it's fee structure wise, it's like great. I mean, you're not really spending much in getting your masters done. So yeah, that covers it. Apart from that, even like in summers as well, like when you take up you can also apply for TA-ship, like work as a teacher's assistant. Like you don't necessarily have to do an internship in some industry. You can work with your professors as well as a TA in summers, either in this institute, or you can try like in other colleges, like other IITs as well, if you want to try a different experience. So that kind of helps in covering your actually it helps in covering your monthly expenses and stuff. So yeah, that gives you more freedom, as you spend more in your project stuff and all that. So yeah, that was there. So it was basically design is also like play. So I felt ki Delhi mein that was the fun part of it. Like we had a lot of fun that helped us become better designers. So yeah, that was great. It was not like a
That's
very stressful environment about in your masters. Like I had fun with my friends, with professors, and everything. So it was like a good experience when I look back.
that's wonderful, Sansi. So we'll conclude the episode by your take on how did design education has shaped you into a better designer.
There too, there might, like we all, it, I don't think there's like this one thing that will make you a better designer as well as make me a better designer. We come with our own set of things we can bring to table, and like it's great to be able to tap into their potential of within ourselves. But the main thing I felt like in my like masters is the way I kind of the way I think about problems, the way I understand design is something which got enriched. Like it added to me, not like not just developing the skills, but I kind of got that perspective of design which I feel is very invaluable. I mean, even my professor once mentioned like that he asked his professor, it's been 1 year, I don't know what exactly has grown so much within me. No, yeah, skill wise, like okay, I can do this. What's the big thing that has happened with me is the way I see things now, the perspective I have in like deciphering something is what I think added the most. I mean, it was like a great way to kind of be exposed to so many design fields and disciplines. But the main thing I would take from there is the understanding I have of a problem, and how to kind of like the main understanding I developed of design is what I think was the most valuable thing for my course for me.
Thank you so much, Swansea, for sharing all these wonderful insights with us. We are looking forward to host you again in our upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Tej. Thank you. Have a great day.